Welcome to another episode of Live Coding with RabbitWerks JavaScript. Again, apologies about the delays. As usual, we have crazy weather up here in Minnesota, and it is goofing up the city Wi-Fi as it is always giving us trouble. We have an ice storm this week, so it's earlier this week on Monday it was about 72 degrees Fahrenheit, and then yeah, now it's snowing, and there was ice tornadoes and all this kind of cool stuff going on up here, so a lot of fun up in Minnesota. But we finally got a good connection, so we're gonna go and finish up this app strong. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Live Coding with RabbitWerks JavaScript. Thank you. Okay, so tonight is episode 13 of the Filtrify photo series, and tonight we're going to be finishing up our project. We're going to be doing a little bit of code cleanup and a little bit of refactoring, and we're going to finish destructuring our Vuex Store. So if we take a look at the work log right here, we have tonight's to-do, or tonight's agenda. And yeah, so we're going to get that finished, and then we'll post and push our cleaned up code to GitHub and call it a project. So if you've gotten this far, if you've been following along, I wanted to say thank you so much for all the time and dedication you put into this project with us. It's been a lot of fun learning how to use all of this cool stuff, and I'm just updating this as I talk. Sorry. That's alright. Since we have all that stuff done, and I'll just wait while this guy is talking in the background for the sample. I'll just wait for just a second. Okay, sorry. Anyways, so tonight we're gonna be cleaning up our code and getting some stuff optimized, and we're also going to look at this capitalized filter as well. So without further ado, let's get going. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we're going to remove the event bus that we've had littered throughout our application. And if we haven't really used it at all, for the event bus, we pulled it in at for the first or second episode, and it's basically a Vue instance that we can use to pass events around to different components. But we don't need to do it, and it can become quite a nuisance when you use it too much. I would suggest staying away from the event bus unless you absolutely need it in certain use cases. But definitely if you find yourself using the event bus to pass data around or events around to different components, I would definitely pull in Vuex into your project. So I wouldn't even think about it, I would just do it. So cool. Alright, so let's get started. Let's look at, let's see, they had an update on some of the icons. It looks a little different. So this, if we look at our source directory, we're going to pull up the event bus right here, and if you look, it's just, like I said, just a simple Vue instance that we export and we can call. And so we don't need this. We're just going to completely delete this file. So let's just do that. Alright, now it's broken, so we need to go through and clean up our code where it has imported and used the event bus everywhere. So for starters, we'll just get rid of that there. Let's see, and it's just gonna be, we're just looking at the top of the beginning of our script tag and seeing if we import it anywhere, and where we import it we're just gonna, because we won't be using it. And it looks like I'm having some issues with the connectivity, so if there's any delay or any buffering, I do apologize. Hopefully this will be a shorter stream with the refactoring and stuff, because we're pretty much done with the application as it stands right now. It's just a little bit of polishing up and whatnot, so hopefully we can get this done tonight, because I would like to move on to the next project. And we've been talking about what we're gonna do for the next live coding series. If you want to get more involved in that conversation, you can check out the RabbitWerks Discord. The link will be in the description below. get involved in that conversation if you want to do something cool, or get involved, or suggest some ideas for their future live coding sessions or projects in general. That's a good place to have your voice be heard. Okay, so let's see. Doesn't look like we used this event bus all too much, because right away we pulled in Vuex. Originally I was thinking we were gonna build this app with the event bus and then convert it over to Vuex, but decided really soon on into the project that we're just gonna use Vuex because of the inherent issues that using an event bus can cause, especially when you're passing state around and stuff with an event bus. Using an event bus alone for just like a custom event here and there isn't necessarily a huge deal, but when you start to pass state around with an event bus, then I would highly suggest just looking into Vuex. And let's see, what do we got here? I think that's all of them. I don't think we really put it in all that much, and it looks like our app is running again, so without that being taken over, then it should be good. Okay. And if I do have a couple of pauses, it'll be trying to like give a second for the network to catch up. Alright, so we have our event bus. Let's close all these components out. We have our event bus removed. Not the bracket. Alright, next thing we want to do is let's go through our application and remove all the console logs, because when we go through, we don't want a bunch of console logs showing up in inside of our production code, and that will get transferred in when we build our application. When Vue builds the production version of our application, it will continue or bring that in, so we don't want to do that. Plus it's just taking up space and making things confusing. So let's go through and remove our console logs. And so let's just start at the top and work our way down. So filter panel. This is quite appropriate music for doing this. Very bouncy, very floaty. Very zero trucks given. I don't know if I can say that, but I said it. And I don't see any, so I think we did a good job so far of removing most of them, but let's just get this double checked. So here's one right here. Delete that console log. And while we're in here, we can probably just get rid of this this localhost variable, since we already know it's gonna be at 127.0.0.1 port leet for our cores proxy. Okay, so, and in that instance, once that's gone, let's clear up the little extra white space. That is another one of our tasks a little bit as we go along, is just kind of clear up the white space that is added in to different components. All right, so next one, going into the display container. Okay, so here we need to get rid of this stuff. So we're not using the CSS variables in this instance anymore. We're not gonna need this watch object either, because we don't need to update our current value. We're not setting filter variables anymore, because that's all what we were doing with CSS variables, and we're not going to do that. So we can actually take from line 27 all the way down to the ending script tag. We can delete that. Actually, not the ending script tag, but last curly brace before the ending script tag. So the watch can be deleted just like that. Let's clear up this white space, make it look a little nicer. All right, cool. So we should just have our computed property with our filters in there remaining. Excellent. All right, next component. Let's take a look. And looks like we got Joseph from the Coding Garden community app, another guy who's working on the project with us, in the chat, and he was suggesting that I should use the search feature in VS Code. Yeah, that's a good idea. So what should I do? Let's see. I think if we just go in here and type in console.log like that. Alright, so yeah, look at right there. That was a good suggestion. So you can see that it pulled up the only remaining console log statements that we have in our application so far, and it looks like the remaining 3 are in the download button. And let's go in there and delete them. So I think, let's see, what can we do? Toggle search position. Interesting. All these crazy features that they keep adding in VS Code, I don't nearly employ half of what I should be as a developer using this amazing tool. And I'm sure a lot of people out there aren't either, but I think it would be a good idea maybe for a live stream to just go through and explore the VS Code and see what they have to offer in a lot of different cases. Like, that would be neat. Okay, so it's the download button that we need to get rid of this stuff in. As you can see, we completely passed over it. So this big old block of code right here. And what this does is it basically takes our image that we have and it bounces it into a canvas and then downloads that canvas as an image or PNG or JPEG file. So we have a couple console log statements we can get rid of, like right there, and then this console log of the blob, get rid of that as well. Should be it. And then let's just get rid of this extra white space right here while we are in this component as well. We could probably refactor. I wonder if we can refactor these computed properties into just like an arrow function. Let's try it on this really quick. So if we were just to say image, that would be what? Equal to an arrow function, like that. I don't know if this is gonna work, but we're gonna see. This dot $store dot getters dot get image. Oh, nope, I don't want a semicolon, I want a comma. Alright, so that's not gonna work. I don't know, we need to just put it in like that. Nope. Okay, so you can't do that. I was just curious. Maybe there's a way to do it, but that is not the right syntax to do it, so. Okay, so let's see, what is the next one? If we go back to our search and see if we forgot anything. Let's close this one out right here. I don't know where the, so the search thing went down here. I don't want it up there. I want it back in over here. Go back over there. Okay, whatever. Okay, so it doesn't look like we have any. Let's move this back down to the bottom. Doesn't look like we have any more console logs in our application, which is cool. Let's go through here and click this off. Alright, and in the process we did remove our display container watchers as well. So we have those gone since we weren't using those anymore. You can check that off the list. Alright, the next thing we want to do is we're going to refactor, rewrite our capitalized filter. So the filter that we are using is on the filter info. So it's a filter on our filters. We're basically taking our info, the name of each filter, and capitalizing it and returning just right here. And if we didn't have that on there, it would just be all lowercase, just like that. So we don't want that. But one thing we need to do is we need to account for this hue rotate. So if we come across a string with the dash in it, we need to we're kind of gonna do the same thing that we did as the repair URL function that we had in the backend for this application. And if we come across a filter with a dash in it, we're gonna split it on the dash. We're gonna take the first part, capitalize it, or take the last part, capitalize the first letter, and then we're gonna put it back together and return it. So what we can do is we're gonna do that right here. So right after this return statement, which we should put a semicolon there, we'll also do a if value dot includes, and it will just be the dash, just like that. And then we will have our conditional block statement right here. So what we will say is value, or we can say return, and then we're going to put it in a template literal so we can get some JavaScript stuff going on in here. So we'll say value dot split, and it's going to split it on the dash just like that. And then we're going to add a dash after the curly bracket here. We're going to add that dash, and then it will be another string variable in here. It will be value dot split. Oh, I'm sorry. What we need to do in this instance, in this first one and the second one, is we need to choose which part of the split we're going to keep. So we need to, just like it's going to turn it into an array, so we need the zero entry of the array, and we need the second entry of the array because it's going to split it and turn it into 0 as the first word. And you can already see it's kind of working right here a little bit. And then it's going to split it and take the second part of the filter word and have it as its own array, or item in the array. Okay, so value dot split, and then we're gonna split it again, same thing on the dash, and then we want the second iteration of that, or the first place of the index, because it's a zero-based array. And you can see that it's got our words in there now, right, just like that. And so the last thing we want to do is we want to make sure we capitalize it. So it will be this, we're going to chain on this dot char at 0 to uppercase method chain right here. And it might be a little confusing, but just bear with me and it'll work. I wonder, can we split this up a little bit? Yeah. I don't know if this is making it any more legible, but for me it is, so. And we want, okay, so it looks like it's only giving us the first letter, so we do need this value.slice. Part on it. Let's try and add that. Nope. Oh wait, okay, so we have the first letter and it says Joseph is saying if values need to be coerced to a string, shouldn't that be done at the top of the function? You can also use shorthand to remove the colon and function keyword. Oh, for the filters? Yeah. It might be worth having an uppercase helper method since it is being done more than once. Well, I think, if I'm understanding what you're saying correctly, I think that's essentially what this is. It's kind of just like a helper method because it's just taking an input and performing some sort of change on it and returning that changed value. So because before what we were doing, what we did actually is we wrote this capitalized function from the Vue documentation. So yeah, we can take this out and refactor this a little bit when we're done, and one thing we can do is take out the function keyword with the colon and just have it be like we have the rest of our functions set up in this application, so with ES6 syntax. But so let's see, we want to get a helper for the helper, if you will. Cute. I like it. Submit a pull request. Okay, sorry, I just need to get back to my train of thought really quick so I can... Okay, so this value.slice, it is just taking the first letter off and returning it. So we need to... I think we need to do a little bit more in this if we're gonna break it apart like that, because we need to... So, okay, let's see. Bear with me on this, I just want to get it worked out and then we can optimize it. So const first will equal this value.split. Just like that. And then we can say first equals, or we probably have to say let since we want to do that way. So let, and then we can say first equals first dot character at the 0 index dot 2 uppercase plus value, or it will be first dot slice the first number, first letter off. Alright, so let's try popping this into here, just like that. So instead of all that, we can say first. See what it says. Okay, cool. So we have it working. Excellent. And then... so what we could do actually is, since we're going to get multiple words in an array, we could just loop through array and perform this. So otherwise it would just be essentially duplicating this, and for simplicity's sake, or for example's sake, we'll just show it. So the second part, just like that, and we say at the first index like that, and that should give us, if we swap this out with second, then it should give us our value that we're looking for. And again, I apologize about the internet connection. It looks like it's getting worse as time goes on. We'll try and see what happens here. If it ends up that this video playback isn't any good, then we'll probably just do a restream of it. So fear not, we'll get it figured out. And it looks like that is working, and we don't actually even need to include that dash. We can actually just get rid of it because I don't think that's necessary. So instead of having this return statement broken out like this, now we can collapse it back down into what it was originally. Just like that. And we can get rid of this dash, just put a space there. So cool. Essentially that's what we got going on. And so let's go through and we can refactor this a little bit, since we will just comment this out, and we can say const split name equals value dot split on the dash, just like that. Okay. Let's see what we have here. Split name, just to see what we have. All right, hue, comma, rotate. So we have both items in our array there. What we could do is just say console.log split name. Let's open up the dev tools really quick. First is not defined. Yeah, I know. That's an old error. Okay. So we can see our array right here. We have it splitting on the dash. We have first entry of the array is hue, second entry is rotate. And so now we can just say dot or no, not that. So we can say, or I guess we could do it on that, but we'll just say split name dot for each word Okay, so what we need to do actually is we're gonna have to put this in a variable. So we can say const const capitalized equals, I think capital is spelled with an A right there. Alright, like that. Capitalized equals dot split name dot for each. So each word we're gonna take, and in that we will return the word dot char at index 0. Oops, we accidentally deleted our parenthesis. Dot to uppercase plus word dot slice and then 1, just like that. I think that should be all that we need. So if we console log capitalized, let's see what that gives us. Capitalized is not defined. Capitalized. Filter info capitalized. You can't return in a for each. Or should I do a map? Yeah, sorry, I'm preoccupied with the internet. Can you answer me a question? Is it like really buffery at the moment? Is it really bad? If so, I probably will cut it off early and try again later this week for another stream. Capitalized for the return. Map. He's screaming map at me. It is map. Okay, so he's saying it's not too bad, so. Oh, it's stressful. I want to give a good to everybody, and I don't want a bunch of buffering. I just want the internet to work. I'm so confused now. Okay, so capitalized equals split name dot map for each word at that plus word dot slice. Oh, and that's okay. Good call. So we're not calling, we need to make sure we invoke our two uppercase capitalized. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for that. Okay, back on track. So now that we are returning the capitalized variable, just like those, just like that, we need to just say capitalized 0, capitalized 1. Oh, and we need to put it in its own thing, sorry. There we go. Hue. Okay, just like that. Cool. Alright, so let's get rid of all of this stuff. And then we can probably just chain this on to, we don't need to put it in a new variable. We could just say alright, let's take this value dot split and we'll take that and put it in place of this split name right there. And we could just get rid of this whole line of code above it. And we can just Okay, cool. Join on a space. I don't want to join, I just want, I think I want, well, we want the space there, so. Let's see, dot join. I don't think I'm gonna be able to even look at this stuff. Well, maybe. It's going slow. The join method creates and returns a new string by concatenating all the elements of an array in an array, or an array-like object separated by commas or specified separator strings. If the array only has one item, then that item will be returned without using the separator. Okay, so if he's saying that we could just do capitalize, okay, it's like this. Capitalize dot join, like that. Chain the join on the map. Alright, well, it looks like that worked, so. Oh, I see. So he's saying we can chain that to the join, or the map, sorry, instead of doing it in the return statement. So we can say join like that, and then we can take it out of this and just return capitalized like that. Cool. And looks like that is hunky-dory. Excellent. Cool. Thanks for the suggestions on that, Joseph. Appreciate it. Good call, good call. And okay, so let's take a look at this. We have that refactored and working. I keep deleting the wrong bracket. And then last thing we want to do tonight is we're going to finish destructuring our Vuex Store. Okay, so remember when we talked about destructuring and how in the Vuex Store it was kind of useful to pull like stuff like the commit out of the context object. So I'm just gonna go through and kind of clean up our mutations and our actions to kind of follow that same design. So we're just gonna clean up the context, pull out the commit property out of that object for our actions, so we can just actually do them for all three of them. So let's say commit, because we're destructuring that, and now with that we can go through and delete the context.
Just as you don't know how you manage to be conscious, how you manage
Just like that.
to grow and shape this body of yours.
So next thing we want to do
That doesn't mean to say that you're not doing it.
is just come up here and we want to destructure this
How the universe
this payload object out so we don't have it
and galactifies the galaxies. You don't know.
just all payload.index and chained like that. So there's a couple ways we could do this.
Just the same way as you're breathing without knowing how you
Let's
breathe.
see. Let's try and do it just in the function argument. So if we said index current and then filter new value. Alright, now with that we can go through and delete all of our payload dots. Cool. Current is declared, but its value is never read. because that's not in our object. We're just passing in the index and the filter new value. Silly. Okay. So let's see, what else do we got here? I wonder if we can destructure the state. So if we were to just say image, got rid of the state, does that work? In theory, let's see. Let's pull an image in here, make sure our application still works. Oh man, you can see that the network request is just taking so long. It looks like it's still working though, so let's finish that out. So we can pull out the filters in this. And then delete the state on that. Next thing, we can pull in the image on the set image size mutation. And get rid of the state. Just like that. And then we also want to destructure the payload as well. So we can do it right in the arguments. Let me say width and height. We can get rid of that. So hopefully this is a little bit more readable as we go through. We're getting rid of some of the redundancies like state, state, state everywhere. That's the main thing. And so we're gonna just pull out the image a couple more times. So right on our custom image name mutation, filter string mutation, and image format mutation. Copy that in there, and then we can go through and delete the state tags, words, whatever you want to call them. Cool, just like that. All right, are we forgetting anything else? I think that should be it. Okay, so just checking it one more time. Looks good. All right, cool. So let's check that off the list. And okay, so that looks like we're gonna call it good for our code cleanup. And we got rid of a bunch of dead code. We got rid of a bunch of unnecessary console logs, and we did a little bit of refactoring and just destructuring as well. So let's go to the terminal, push this code up to GitHub, and check it out on Netlify, and we'll be done. We'll call it good. All right, so let's just say git add all. Then we can say git commit -m refactor cleaned up code, remove console logs, and improved code. Cool. And git push, send that off. It should update on Netlify's end and we should be good to go. Let's go head over to Netlify and take a look and see where it's at when it does push it up. Log in. Certainly is going slow tonight. Proof of the internet speeds. Oh, geez, Louise. Okay. So this determined hawking project on Netlify is our Filtrify photo series, and looks like it is building the new version right now. And the nice thing about Netlify is we can just push to GitHub, and after setting up our build script and stuff on Netlify's end, we don't even have to worry about building it. We can just send it out and it'll watch the repo and build it automatically on their end and deploy it. So it looks like that's finished, and let's take a look, make sure it works. And it'll download, and boom, cool. Let's bring in an image just to see. Take a look at our network tab. And it's bringing it in. All right, cool. So it is working, and we have our filters working. Everything is working properly. Looks really nice. Well done. Nice horse picture. Cool. We can say nice horse picture and save it as a JPEG. Click download, and we got our nice horse picture. That's a nice horse picture. Alright, cool. So that is the Filtrify photo series, and I hope we learned a lot along the way. I know that a couple of the deals working with Canvas had been a little bit tricky here and there, and we did have a little bit of debugging issues along the way, but hopefully this project was easy enough for anybody to follow along and build it step by step with us. If you want to take a look at the code, it is all available on GitHub. Both the front and the back end are available to check out, download, clone, and do with it as you wish. If you want to submit a pull request for improvements or features, I'm more than happy to take a look at that. And I think it'd be really cool to see a pull request. And so we have this sprint section down here, but I don't think we're going to worry about that tonight. If we had gotten this done in about 10 episodes, we could probably do the sprint, but for now, we're not going to worry about it. We're going to call it good. So yeah, if you had any questions about any of the topics that we covered in this whole series, you can take a look at every episode's task list that we accomplished. And if you have any questions with anything at all, feel free to give me a shout on the RabbitWerks Discord server. You can message me on Instagram or Twitter as well. And again, I hope you learned a lot from this project. I had a lot of fun writing it, and thank you so much again to Joshua for all the help along the way. Thank you again to Joseph for helping out chat tonight, and thank you for everybody for tuning in during the creation of it. And one thing I was thinking about for possibility, if we want to do one more episode of this, is convert it to mobile. So because we have everything built in Flexbox, it does already work really nicely in mobile, but the only thing we would have to adjust is just bring in our image container into our bar. So let's see if we can take a look at it really quick. Pull up the device toolbar. So yeah, as you can see, that if this were on a mobile device, it doesn't look half bad as it is because of what we're doing with Flexbox from the get-go. But if we were to take this component right here and just, I don't know, say like put it either above the load image or in between the load image and the filters panel, so that way we could see it as we're making changes. But this is just going to be too small. Even if we had a little bit larger thumbnail to see and view as a loaded preview, that would be neat. So we could probably do that in next week if we don't have the next series together yet. But we'll have to see. So, and just as far as the next coding series, I think we're gonna do a little bit close. So what the next the next season or next series of live coding sessions, we're going to look at the basics of Vue.js a little bit closer. And we're going to go through all the different stuff, how to get started, and a little bit closer look at what all the different Vue directives are that are pretty common that you'll use, some different Vue specific syntaxes that you will want to keep in mind when using or building applications in Vue, and we'll go with that. So it'll be a very, very beginner friendly, very starter basics focused series that'll last a number of weeks, probably a handful of weeks. We'll probably do 6 or 7 episodes depending on where that goes, and then along with the Vue basics, we're gonna probably incorporate that into a simple application where we'll interface with an API of sorts with the knowledge that we've learned about Vue and build a little application. So if you're interested in getting more information about that as it kind of gets developed, go ahead again and check out the RabbitWerks Discord server, and we'll be talking about it there. You can throw your 2 cents in on what you would like to see and suggest topics for future live streams as well. So without further ado, we're gonna call it an evening, and we're gonna call it a project. So again, thank you so much for tuning in to the Filtrify photo series with RabbitWerks live coding, and I really appreciate everybody's support throughout this whole thing, all of the help that everybody has given us, and all the well wishes and awesome comments. So keep it up, and I hope that you will like, comment, and subscribe on the channel if you like what you see, and tune in next time for our next live coding series. If you like the tunes that you've been hearing, you can go and check those out at the RabbitWerks Code Beats Spotify playlist. The link will be in the description as well. And you can get, it's about 3 hours of good beats to like jam out to while you're coding and stuff. So cool. All right. So wherever you are in the world, night or day, thank you so much, and have a wonderful rest of whatever it is. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Live Coding with RabbitWerks JavaScript, and we'll see you on the next series. In the meantime, stay awesome, keep coding, and never stop breaking things. Have a good night, everybody.